Testing!
Have a look here. Slash live, and there you are. Alright, I can hear myself. Can I hear you?
Words! I'm talking. Can you hear me? Talking. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome.
There we go. Yes.
And there's going to be an echo. Because I went
Very
on the
slight.
live. Alright.
There's a small chance that my headphones will play back into my microphone, so I'm keeping the stream as quiet as I possibly can.
I get a PC set up, I'm definitely getting a mechanical keyboard.
They're fun, especially if you like coding like I do.
Oh, Phoenix! She responded.
Oh.
She forgot it was Monday.
Oh.
Aw.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get around to it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anyone here early? Anyone watching the stream this early? We do have Stardew Valley crew. Stardew crew. Usually it's Mondays, but we've talked about doing it on Tuesday as well.
Nice little group stream and whatnot. Honestly, we could always branch out to other games too, if nothing else.
Yeah. Once we find, well, another game that all of us are into.
I have to say, golf with friends would be... And there goes my Wacom tablet. Just smashed it against the keyboard. As it should. Just... Okay, anyway. Sorry, golf with friends was one I was suggesting, but again, it's golf, but the fun part is it's kind of wacky as you get to play as the golf ball.
Yeah. And I mean, there's I know we all have the Switch Online stuff, so those are all basically free. So, what is cooperative on those? I mean, there's the Mario Golf and Tennis as well for competitive stuff. There's what's 4-player though too. I want to say Star Fox because I did play that recently. Star Fox and Dr. Mario 64.
Star Fox, help me!
Yeah. It'd be great if there was a Star Fox with a cooperative campaign. I'm thinking like once they get around to doing another Star Fox, that's probably the thing they're gonna do. Cooperative rail shooting campaign. That ought to be fun.
Yeah. Okay, I need a proper description of Ralph.
Oh, yes. So Rail is... Let's see, where are my games? Oh, I haven't prepared.
Dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun. Characters. Character design guide, which is not filled out.
double da da da.
Let's see, I have one of our pseudo villains. I just kind of based Rel off of the picture that you did for me, basically, for my YouTube picture. So somewhat darkish skin and black hair, black eyes.
Okay.
Skinny, left-handed. Yeah, when I first came up with this game, I was not very creative with the character designs. But one thing I knew I wanted the character not to be like all the games that I played. Like it had a light-skinned protagonist who was right-handed, blonde hair, blue eyes. So I'm like, there's got to be one. There's got to be like I gotta allow myself at least one instance where I just put myself into a game as a playable. So not white skinned, not right handed. I might change like changing the hair color and eye color is probably going to be a thing,
Hmm.
but maybe not. Maybe like black hair and brown eyes, or black hair and black eyes would just be the protagonist for this game. Which is well, not the protagonist, considering you can play as anyone, but would be Ral.
Hmm. Just to kind of demonstrate, oh hey, left-handed.
Yeah, yeah. Make it a hammer rather than a sword.
Okay, can do that.
That's one of the big differences I'm going to do in this game world. That swords, your basic sword is going to be an unlockable.
Like that.
It's going to have a special property. Let me see if I can dig up the hammer design, the hammer weapon design that I had for this.
Okay, because yeah, I don't want to continue here until here. If only Katamari Damacy. I don't know if that has a multiplayer, but that would
Oh
be
yeah, I
fun.
think yeah.
Chaotic.
I remember that the first game had a local multiplayer versus mode. I don't know if it had a co. Oh no, wait, yeah, it must have had a cooperative mode because I remember people struggling with it. I might be remembering wrong, but I kind of remember people struggling with a cooperative
Because Katamari Damacy is just chaotic fun.
mode.
Once you get past the controls, it's like, ah. And the game just gets fun by the time it ends. Like, it gets chaotically fun whenever it ends. Because you get to the point where you're swallowing up entire islands,
Bye.
gods, mountains, buildings, Godzilla.
Godzilla's just wandering around to get eaten up by a Katamari.
Yep. I think Fujin and Raijin are there. Either that or was it
Yeah,
a
gods of
sky?
wind and thunder.
Yeah.
Right, I have colored this. I'm gonna give you a very rough looking image. Let's see, new image. Okay, and paste. Ah, that's not what I wanted. Quit. Changes. Open a new. Paste data. Save as. Untitled is fine. Base pictures directory.
Now I'm gonna be humming Katamari Damacy songs throughout the whole stream.
I only know the one song.
Hmm. Which one? Like, oh, the theme
Da
one?
da 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 da. Yeah, that one.
I played through
That's the only one that's memorable to me.
Huh. Idea. That is definitely a streaming idea. Been a while since I played it, but once
Mhm.
in a while the controls you lose memory of how to play the game. It's very weird. Like the best I can describe it as you're rolling a ball of lint, essentially.
A
That
ball of lint.
that's the best way I can describe the controls. It is very weird.
All right, I sent an image over Twitter.
Okay.
So there's like the weapon itself is not does not have all these colors in it. The colors are there just to sort of distinguish the parts. So the yellow bit is the grip,
Mhm.
and then the green bit is like the hammerhead.
It's like a stamper with a poke at the end.
Yeah, kind of. Like it's got a wide hammerhead and then a thin hammer. Well, not a thin hammerhead, but like an armor punching hammerhead, and then like a spike at the end,
Yeah.
and then a grip, and then like a pommel at the back. But the pommel has like the secret attack ability in it. Like you hit someone with that, and it like shocks them. It deals electric damage or something.
Yeah.
So you can deal impact damage, you can deal spike damage, and you can deal shock damage with this thing, depending on which attacks you use.
I ought to say before Clip Studio decides.
This is also like, yeah.
Oh no, Clip Studio, don't crash on me! Sorry.
Oh, just the worst time.
No, not the.
It got a crash just before you could remember to save.
I've had it crash on me when I was just about done with line work on one piece.
Oh.
Causing me to start the line work all over again.
Have a clock beside you with a timer set for a minute, a repeating timer set for 1 minute, so that every minute it reminds you to save.
Yep. Because, I've had it... Well, you can set it on autosave, but the problem is that it will randomly crash if you do that. So, it's better just to save it around the clock.
There's a, what if you set a, what if you set a keyboard macro? Like a separate program to just hit Control S on your keyboard every minute or so.
Might be best just keeping it as a, what is it? A,
clock on the side.
Button on my Wacom.
Ah, okay. So yeah, that's also the base model. This, what you're seeing here, is also the base model of the hammer. So it is like the hammer head might have something like stuck over it to make it fancy. Like depending on what model of hammer you have, like this is just like going back to the Kingdom Hearts model. Like the keys look very different from each other. Each key you get looks very different from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So similarly, there'll be a bunch of different hammers that you can equip that'll look very different from each other too. And like they'll have different elements on their secret attack, and they might deal extra damage on their basic attack or extra damage on their alternate attack. On the armor punch on the back there.
Okay, this might be a little too comical. It's a bopping stick.
Kinda. I kind of like, I got the idea for this particular hammer from the Joe Deaver Lone Wolf book series.
Mm-hmm.
The front bit there actually had kind of a grating, kind of a grate of spikes.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really cool for like, I thought it was a really cool design.
Yeah.
And I wanted to expand on that a bit, because like the Lone Wolf books, well, they're books. So you just have to kind of imagine how the combat goes, because you're rolling dice and looking up numbers on tables, and the book just says, if you win the fight, go to this page. If you lose the fight, go to that page. Or if you lose the fight, game over. So I kind of wanted to see that hammer design in action.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'll keep it to, well, I'll adjust this a little bit.
Well, we'll make it less comical as needed.
Oh, come on. You don't want a bopping stick. No.
It'll depend on what world you're in.
Here we go.
In like the happier worlds, it could become more of a bopping stick, and in the darker worlds, they could become more morbid or more dangerous.
About like yay big?
I don't know. I mean, I like the length wasn't the problem, just the silliness.
Okay.
Yeah, because like you're gonna want him to get some reach on him, otherwise you're in a situation where you run up to the enemies. They always hit you first because you can't reach them by the time you want to hit them.
Clip Studio, Darn you. Save. Don't. Don't hiccup. Don't you dare. Good. Be a good clip studio.
Meowie meow.
That is a good clip studio.
Hi, meowie meow. Hi, meowie. Oh, right. I gotta share your live stream. Let's see, where are my notes here? Meow meow. Meow meow. Alright, put this on
I
the
will
right
just
side.
eventually share the entire soundtrack to that game because now I'm just humming it. At least the beginning part.
Alright, first on this channel, next on that channel.
Oh, it's funny. On one level, you are trying to collect. You're trying to find the biggest cow item, and the thing is that includes cows, milk, ice cream. So you have to build up to get a giant cow, and if you get the milk, it's game over for that level. You got what you needed.
Ah, so you want to get everything else before you get that.
Yep. You want to get other items so that way your main goal is to get the biggest thing you can. And then the king responds whenever you get something like, well, any cow related item. It's a cow!
Don't have a cow, man.
Yep. Well, to be fair, he was the one who went on a drunken tirade and was like, oh yes, we share responsibility. Got it. There we go. Ooh. That is some skewing there. Let me just not ruler. Make sure that looks. Ooh, that's even worse. Rotate your images often. Because if you don't.
Always flip and rotate.
Yes, always flip and rotate because it may look fine from here. But then you do this. One thing I like to do that helps is go to transform and then free transform. Kind of the
Mew mew.
lazy man's way of fixing it, but it works. Doing
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I tend to use scale and
That's a little bit better.
cage deform. Yeah, to just mess with the image. Of course, it also messes with line thickness and stuff. But if it's just the sketchy layer,
Yep, nip it in the bud before it becomes a problem.
hmm I think another thing I was going for with this design of hammer is that I didn't want it to look like a hammer that you would get uh, from the tool shop,
Mm-hmm.
like a hammer that you get from a hardware store, and I didn't want it to look like a historical war hammer either, like a Lucerne hammer, because that kind of looks like a tool shop hammer too.
That has to be a joke
And I didn't
item.
really want it to look like, yeah, and I didn't really want it to look like a Mario mallet either, even though I'm kind of drawing from like Super Mario RPG kinds of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Like one thing that Raoul wanted to do when coming to this world was to bring some, like the reason he was picked to be someone to travel to this world was that he wanted to bring some like seriousness into the world, and like Princess Pally needs to, well, to learn how to rule seriously as a queen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they looked for someone from Earth to help bring that, along with Human Wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Human Wonder to keep the world alive, and like some sense of maturity and seriousness to allow the rulers to rule, or to teach the rulers how to rule and how to bring that into the world as well. I kind of want there to be a scene where like he's picking out his clothes for this world while he's traveling to it,
Mm-hmm.
and they give him like cartoonish white gloves, and he just says black gloves, and the gloves just immediately turn black.
Mm-hmm.
Black leather gloves.
Don't want to look like a Mickey Mouse knockoff.
Yeah, either Mickey Mouse or Mario. But that's something that like I think a lot of people were commentating on around the 80s and 90s, is that how like cartoon characters are always wearing these white gloves,
Mm-hmm.
and either they're talking about how the gloves never get dirty or how they never take the gloves off for any reason.
And if they do, it's so ungodly looking. It's like, ew, put it back on, put it back on. I don't like it. Still got the skewing. I don't like it. Well, it's still sketchy, but you know what?
Yeah, it's just the sketchy layer.
I'll
We'll
fix it.
fix it up as you add layers. Oh, hey, Phoenix is here.
Phoenix!
I have to draw over my stuff after flipping too. That's pretty normal. Okay.
Hello!
I have gotten almost no drawing practice since last time, and I don't know. I feel lost in my development. I feel like I'm just starting out, but also that I'm not just starting out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to find a place, a thing to practice and practice it.
So what you going for first?
Me, I think like I always default to starting. Hello, Lendrigan Games as well. Yes, people are starting to show up. Yay. But when I start to practice, when I make a conscious decision to practice my drawing, I usually start with the eyes, because having a unique eye style is something that that I think will distinguish my work from others, even if I want to draw from others for my inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think I shared my eye drawings before, but again, that was like years ago. That was like a whole house ago when I was living in the northeast of the city. I think right now what I'm focusing on is more the business side of things, trying to find some way to get, well, to get some kind of money flow, some
Mm-hmm.
way to pay the bills. There are some. I briefly talked with Lendrigan Games earlier today about business grants,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking about like how there are art grants and even video game specific grants out there now, and that might be like, if nothing else, maybe a bank loan.
Mhm.
There's uh, there's a couple of options out there for me. Yeah, I don't like getting into debt, so I'm hoping that if I have to do something where I get into debt, it's only for a very short time.
Right.
But of course, a lot of people who do who are in the business of loans want to make sure you're in the loan for a long time so they can make maximum profit off of the interest.
Also depends on what kind of loan. If it's from an official bank or like.
Hmm. And then there's companies out there, big companies even, that'll take out a loan and just default on it.
Mhm.
So they basically treat a loan like a grant, and like that is, ugh. And that's part of the reason that I don't buy from certain companies
Mhm.
that I would like not to name.
Ugh. During COVID, a lot of companies took PPP loans, which were more for small businesses and whatnot. Not tech. I mean, I guess per se it wasn't an SBA loan, which is a small business loan,
Hmm.
but
Small personal account.
SBA small business.
SBA, small business account.
Yep. But
Okay.
there is an SBA loan kind of deal. Um, but no, the PPP program was more meant for smaller businesses, but you had companies like Steak and Shake take loans. And you know, big companies like that who can afford to advertise
Hmm.
definitely can afford to not take money off these.
Yeah, yeah. But again, well, maybe not again. Maybe I'm saying this for the first time here. But I feel like when they're a lot of the people who are like the big fish in the industry, in their industries,
Hmm.
um, they they come off like they got there easily, and so anyone who is not where they are just, are lazy or villainous somehow and the don't deserve the money on the table. So
Hmm.
some of them will take the money just to make it unavailable for what the money is there for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, oh hey, it's free money that they could obtain.
Yeah. I guess there is that um, insatiable greed.
Hmm.
Gunstar is cleaning himself.
Oh,
Hi, Squeak. Is it washy times?
could change the outfit a little bit. I'm just going with like just casual
Yeah,
button down shirt and undershirt and
yeah. Like an earth, just any kind of like earth garment,
yeah.
earth fashion. So the world that the game takes place in is called Majinish for now. I was thinking of just using some kind of mutation of the name Earth, but I see a lot of people doing that, and it feels like I feel like I'm just feeding into a cliche if I do.
Too
So I
many
thought of
giant. Oh,
something like a proper otherworld name.
s- suddenly flashback to Final Fantasy IX where there was Gaia and Terra.
Yeah. Ugh.
That was terrible.
I think
Why?
that was what. Yeah. I think was what pushed me to not use URTHR Earther as the name of this game's planet.
Terra and Gaia. Like, how do people not get those confused? Because they're usually interchangeable. Or, you know.
I like if I were able to hold down a job, I totally would. Like I'm still applying for work from home jobs, but I'm not very confident that I'll be able to hold on to them. I haven't heard back from any yet, but like I don't know if my lack of confidence is coming through in my resume or anything.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've been considered severely handicapped for a significant portion of my life now. So I have to find some way of dealing with that, getting around that.
Hmm.
Or like while I was on Aish, um, I was trying to create a job for people in my position, and I'm still trying to do that. I just need to find some way of getting some funding in, whether it is resuming Aish or like I hope I can resume Aish, but it really seems like a struggle.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's just me, like if it's me getting in my own way, or if it's them making it difficult,
Hmm.
or some combination of both. I'd love to get a home job for months, but no one wants to accommodate my health issues. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's because competition is business. They have to hire the best of the best,
Hmm.
or because business is competition. And so anyone who isn't the best is left and forgotten, a non-entity in their lives, in their existence.
Hmm. There goes the AC.
So it's especially good that Very Random Butterfly is helping me out here, because I mean you're not like you have some spare time, and you don't really need the money,
Hmm.
and you've got a lot of artistic talent.
Thank you.
So I want to pay that back in making a great flex time job for you um, where you can exercise your artistic talents
Hmm.
and hopefully earn a decent salary.
And it's good experience too. I could always
Mhm.
use just the more practice for whatnot. And this is wrong, but you know what? It's still in the sketching phase. I
Mhm.
might have a second, well, no, a third sketch line after this because this is not right. You got stubby legs for this poor character.
I was thinking like I might have a technique to practice drawing on my hands. If I go between Blender 3D and a drawing program, I can make like first I can make a very rough pose doll, and then I can sketch a 2D image over the pose doll, and then improve the proportions of the pose doll based on how the sketch comes out, and then sketch again over the pose doll. So basically alternate between 2D and 3D until I have
Mm-hmm.
and it'll take a long time, and but I might have something. I might have something I can work with that way.
Mm-hmm.
But also, well, the thing that the thing that I'm practicing the most is coding. So when I sit down at the computer, I usually open up my IDE and practice that more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Now what? This isn't looking right. I'm cheating?
I think Phoenix is the only person I've ever met that says MUNS muns for money. It's unusual but charming.
Close enough.
I
Oh.
would like That's probably what I would do. Like GIMP has a mirror drawing mode where it just cuts a line through the middle of your picture, and yeah, whatever you mark on the left side shows up mirrored on the right side.
I will
That's probably what I would do
fix this.
for my facing the camera pose.
Actually,
Lazy talk.
since this doesn't need, if this is just the regular, probably best not to draw the weapon here, and then do maybe a more redesigned version next to it. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, like that's how I've seen it done in other character sheets. Like they'll draw the person, they'll draw the weapon to the side, and they'll draw it at different angles, or they'll draw like accessories like earrings or small details like buttons, enlarged but separate.
Mm-hmm. Oh, poor Bambi.
What's Bambi doing?
She's scratching a little. The cold, well, the warm weather and all that,
Ah,
not good on their fur. They they've been itching a little bit.
okay. Gunstar's giving me his little squeaks. Look how clean I am.
Oh gosh, it was so cute this weekend. My cousin's cat, he's named Rags, and he is just the most affectionate cat. Like, he, you call him, he runs to you, and he just wants nothing but attention. All attention, all day, every day. And he'll talk to you, talk back to you,
sounds
and yeah,
sounds like a well socialized cat.
like I was just sitting down, and then all of a sudden he plops down right on my lap. He's just like, and he looks at me like, "Well, you gonna pet me?"
I used to there was a friend of mine who I think they had two cats. He had one cat and his big sister had another cat. And whenever I would visit them, the big sister's cat would walk up to me and like flop down in front and like reach out her paws, and I would like stick my finger into the middle of her paws and she would grip them.
Mm.
She'd do like this little grippy motion. She had big paws too. I don't think there are many cats that do that grippy motion.
Mm-hmm.
Gunstar doesn't.
I've had.
He's
Oh, sorry.
You've had a
I've had some of my cousin's cats who would do that.
okay.
Now, what were you saying with Gunstar?
Gunstar. Let's see. His back paws will always do a kicky motion. If your fingers get near it, he'll always do like a reflexive little kick. And his front paws, he just lets you do whatever you want with them. You can squeeze his paw pads. You can extend his claws, which is great because like you have to extend his claws often to check how sharp they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like kneading dough. Yeah. Except without the like actual kneading motion of the arms, just the paws like squeezing at your fingertip. My cat does that a lot when he's really happy and purring. Yeah. Gunstar used to knead a lot. Now, like I heard that it gets less and less as they get older. I think he's just gotten like old enough to the point where he's not kneading anymore. Or maybe I just need to give him a really thick blanket to lie down on. Mostly he's been I give him like these cheap little towels. He's got like 10 cheap towels just for him now. He's got more towels than me. and a whole bunch of old clothes in his carrier too. I try to keep those as clean as possible too.
Mm-hmm.
Just old, worn out, torn up clothes. But it's a big, like when I had to take him to the vet in the middle of winter, they were great. He could bury himself in my old clothing and keep warm because his carrier has like these mesh windows,
Mm-hmm.
so they're not very good for the carrier by itself is not very good for keeping him warm. Meow meow.
Yep.
I've been looking at maybe adding a new perk to the Patreon as well,
Mm-hmm.
but it might be a bit more complicated than I thought it would. I was thinking like doing a Darkwares membership kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
where if you pledge at a certain level, you get an at darkwares.com email address and a membership number. But I'm seeing a lot of cautionary tales like don't set up your own email server.
Yeah, that might be a little much.
But I want an email. I want an at Darkwares for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just because like it seems like the next step for having your own business is to have an at your own domain email address
Mm-hmm.
rather than relying on Gmail or Hotmail or the free email services out there, Yahoo, AOL.
Yeah.
Seems like it should be kind of easy. Like it'll be easy if you want to pay an email service to do it for you, but I also want to I want to be a good game developer, so I want to understand how to code this stuff, even if I don't actually do it myself.
Mm-hmm. Actually, you might be able to work on vector layers right now.
Vector layers.
Yeah. I do that for the line work.
Okay. Yeah, that's another thing that I've been looking into, practicing a bit more. Synfig Studio, a vector-only animation program.
Hmm.
Like Pencil 2D has vector layers, but I think developing the vector layers is a low priority on their schedule right now.
Mm-hmm.
While Synfig Studio seems to be entirely vectors, and I think that could be another factor in helping me develop a unique 2D art style.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to be careful that any animations I do in Synfig Studio do not end up looking like Macromedia Flash. Because vector art style apparently is vector art styles are automatically in betweened, and people who do like when Macromedia Flash was trending, when it was really popular, that was how people would make so many animations so quickly, is that they would rely on that automatic in betweening to do most of the animation for them.
Mm-hmm.
So it became very easy to recognize when something looks like Flash. There's also Inkscape for single vector images,
Mm-hmm.
single scalable vector images. So if I specialize in using both Inkscape and Synfig Studio, that might help me develop something unique. Mucha Lucha was made entirely in Flash. Oh yeah, there was Mucha Lucha and one of the My Little Pony cartoons as well. And I didn't know it was made in Flash until I read up on it when it was trending, and I saw that one music video that actually got me to start watching the series. the music video had a Toho song and a lot of just hyperactive animation to go with it.
Mhm.
But yeah, like once you're told an animation is Flash, then you start to notice where the in-betweening is going in like a good in-between cartoon.
Mhm.
But it's not something that like jumps out at you as soon as you start watching. I'm reading Mucha Lucha, but what comes to mind is that one platforming game that I know is not Mucha Lucha.
It was basically, imagine if you will, a school setting, but everyone's luchadores. Like everybody. Everyone's got the masks. Everybody's got some weird, Spanish wrestling
Mhm,
gimmick.
mhm.
And it's absurd. It's very, very, like, I remember it was on Kids WB or something like that.
I want to say it was on like it was available as a Saturday morning cartoon in my area, but it might have been made available when I stopped watching cartoons.
Mm.
Yeah, that it. Looking at the web search here, it does not look recognizable to me. So it must have been something that I only heard of by name.
Like, I kind of, like, of all the cartoons going on TV at the time, it was probably one of my least favorites. I'm like, I could spend some time watching this, or I could spend time watching a poorly dubbed anime from 4Kids. Anime it is. There were some poor life choices. Some of those dubs were terrible. Visiting them back.
So now I'm looking up what the game is that came to mind.
On and off. Oh, while playing Kirby, somewhat reminded of the cartoon that they had at the time too. The Kirby Right Back at Ya.
Yeah, that was done in 3D, but cell shaded, right?
There were some bits in 2D, some bits in 3D, but the parts that were in 3D, you could really tell it apart. It drove me insane.
Futurama was like that too. Like you could, for the people, like the people that were animated, it felt like it was just Matt Groening's style.
Mhm.
But Bender and the spaceship, whenever those animated, it was definitely in 3D.
Mhm.
Or if like buildings got destroyed or something like that, then you could tell that that was definitely done in 3D.
Yeah. I'm finally getting around to watching Disenchantment and the 3D, the 3D world map thing that they keep showing
Mm-hmm.
just drives me nuts because yeah, it's that whole 2D and 3D thing that doesn't mesh right.
I think I got to see that again. I think I only saw the first season or so, and what are they up to season 4 now?
Let's see, where am I at so far?
All I
I'm on
remember
season
is
2.
that they had one. Okay, yeah, I remember that they had like there was this one reference that I feel like was pretty much just for me,
Mhm.
and it was the one where um, they if you bow to them, if you bow to the people, then they have to stop and bow back. So while they're running away from these people, like they somehow got them mad and got them chasing them. So while they're running away, one of them stops to bow at them every now and then, so that they can make distance. And that was a reference to a really old like Apple IIe game called Karateka, where you're fighting through a horde of karate people. You're fighting in karate, but you have to go into and out of your karate stance. Um, and every time you beat someone, a new person comes out of the temple to run towards you. So you have to go out of your karate stance to run and make distance towards the temple before you actually have to fight. and if either of you hits the other when you're not in karate stance, that's an instant kill. So you run up to each other, and you can bow, go into your karate stance, and then fight. But like, yeah, you can also like, because whenever you bow, they have to bow. You can take advantage of that by like bowing and then quickly going into your karate stance while they're bowing and then kicking them for an instant kill.
Nice.
Even the ending depended whether you were in karate stance or not. You rescue the girl. Like, the girl is free and she stands up. You go into a room, but if you approach her in karate stance, she kicks you and you die.
Nice. Note to self, never go in karate stance whenever you're, I don't know.
Whenever you rescue a girl.
Yep. Because, especially in one of those situations, they will kick your hide. Not think twice about it, apparently.
2D and 3D clash in the lighting. Hand shading and procedural shading always look different from each other. Yeah, yeah. I remember learning that when I was first looking up Blender 3D, like what the different kinds of shading are. Especially also when Reboot was new, and I was looking up what all these characters' names meant, like where Fong came from Fong shading, dot matrix, of course. I'm still not sure what Enzo matrix is a reference to. Maybe someone who came up with the dot matrix display?
I never actually got around to seeing that, but the 3D.
Oh, really?
Like, something about early 90s and early 80s 3Ds. It's both fascinating yet freaky.
Yeah. And I know that they, like, the characters have, like, blue and green skin because they, like, trying to make something look like a realistic human was probably way out of the reach of our best computers back then. So they were going deliberately for the cartoonish look.
Yep.
For a less realistic, more stylistic look. So the blue and green skin helped with that.
It's kind of how what was it? How Toy Story kind of did.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of that was because a lot of the 3D at the time was it looked cartoonish. It looked.
And when you look at the
toy-like.
humans, yeah. What I found strange was that the toys looked like, if they made the humans look like the toys, that would have been okay. But like, it was jarring, the difference between the toy like faces, in particular the toy faces and the human faces.
One thing that freaked me out is the short movie that was made before it. That tiny toy one.
That one I don't remember so much.
Oh my gosh, the 3D baby model, it's freaky. Ugh. It's the stuff of nightmares. Imagine, if you will, an 80s 3D baby in a movie where the baby is one of the main characters. And, well, it's early 80s, well, it's late 80s 3D, so it's not really that good. I mean, it's great for the time, but don't get me wrong. But it's nightmare-inducing.
See, I want to look that up, but I'm also looking up the name of that game that keeps coming to mind when I think Mucha Lucha.
Also, fun fact, you know that one short, Pixar short, Knick Knack?
Pixar short knick-knack.
The one with the
Oh,
snow globe.
the one with the snow globe. Vaguely.
He's trapped in this snow globe and he sees like a lady in a bikini and he's like, "Oh, I want to get out." And he's trying to get out of the snow globe.
Yeah. Like as you're describing it to me, I kind of remember. Like I think I know what the lady in the bikini looks like
Mhm.
because of I think a censorship um,
Yep.
controversy.
In the re-release for Finding Nemo, she was reduced like heavily because,
Uh huh.
but
Imagine the mask too, basically. Ah,
the music playing in there is the same guy who sings "Don't Worry, Be Happy," and he's doing it all by a cappella. Apparently, the dude was kind of an a cappella genius, and his
oh,
father even did the singing voice for Sidney Poitier, Poitier, bleh, way back when. So,
all right. Lucha, Wii U, Metroid. I know it was kind of a Metroidvania type of game. Was that?
I hope they actually have more Katamari Damacy games on the Switch. Well, on the Switch. I think there are a couple.
Ah, it was called Guacamelee.
Wait, what?
The game that keeps coming to mind when I see Mucha Lucha, it was called Guacamelee.
Sounds so absurd.
Yeah, it's I think like very like it feels like a Metroid game. They even have like your upgrades are split into items called Chuzo statues,
Hmm.
and like it's very well into parody, but it's a very like lucha themed parody. You got the dude in the masks and um the Dios de la Muerte.
Yep.
But yeah,
Martes.
Day of the Dead.
Yep. Kind of
Day
vibe.
of the Dead themed, yeah, Day of the Dead themed lucha libre adventure. Very colorful as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also made in, well, I don't want to say it's made in Flash, but it's made with like the paper
Hmm.
doll style animation, so it looks like it was made in Flash.
Hold up. I've got to look this up.
Guacamele.
Yes.
I think it was one of the early like memorable Wii U indie games. So I remember sinking a lot of time into it.
Huh.
You get your upgrades pretty frequently too.
Hmm. Apparently, it's even been ported to more modern systems like the PS4, for example. There might be a
Yeah, I got
Switch
a
version.
multi-plat release.
There might be a Switch version for all we know.
Bobby McFerrin toured Porgy and Bess because his father played the character Sidney Poitier.
Yeah, Poitier.
Poitier? Poitier.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've read French names. Poitier. I really got to practice my French more. It is Canada's other official language.
Hmm.
I think I've lost. I used to have the accent for speaking French like a native speaker because I went to a French immersion elementary school, but there's just no opportunity to speak French in a casual setting here,
Mm.
so I lost it over time.
I still need
And
to brush up
you
on
still need.
Spanish.
Ah,
So, yeah. But
¿Te gusta?
my Spanish is caveman understanding at best. But
I all the Spanish I know is from memes. I keep getting told to watch my language.
I mean, you might have a better chance learning Spanish on your end too, because French is a very Latin-based language,
Hmm. Yeah,
and there
like
are some
if I
similarities.
yeah, like if you have the accent for if you have the accent for French, then you've basically got the accent for Spanish as well.
Not only,
Strangely enough, you've got the accent for French. You've got very close to the accent for Japanese too.
hmm, but not only that, vowel structure. What is it? Also, certain words. I found like from what I understand, some of the more modern words
Hmm.
have a more English sounding name to it. I mean,
Well, yeah,
something.
as languages evolve, they get more loan words,
Mm-hmm.
and like there's like a French authority that's kind of trying to resist that. Like
Mm-hmm.
every time people who speak French start adopting an English loan word, someone comes up with a made up French word to try and enforce no like stop saying this English word, say this French word instead.
Hmm. It's like, really?
But for the most part, yeah, languages just kind of they do borrow words from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've started saying um, emoji. Like that's a really old one. Emoji is practically no one even thinks about it being a Japanese loanword anymore, even though it's a Japanese loanword that is like that is rooted in English to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
from emoticon or like emote to emote, and then sticking the particle g at the end.
Mm-hmm. Maybe not this. Sometimes I like to do like an off white color because it's just too much on the eyes, too bright.
I mean, it looks all right to me, but I also have light theme on my YouTube, so
There we
I
go.
usually like I don't know. Is this kind of a noob thing? Like when I open up my drawing program, I usually have it set to 50% gray,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like maybe that's kind of a noob technique. I don't know. Like I feel like it is a noob technique, but I don't know why it would be.
What was it again? I'm sorry.
Oh, when I set my background to 50% gray,
Mm.
like I figure it's totally um, middle of the road neutral color. It's not white. It's not black. You can write it. You can draw in whatever color you want, other than 50% gray. Maybe that's it. Maybe 50% gray is a noob technique because it locks out 50% gray to use in your drawing.
Mm-hmm.
French is a prescriptive language, meaning its vocabulary literally is drafted by experts. Okay, well that'd explain why that that thing that I said keeps happening keeps happening. It's another loan word that English that trended in English for a while. It was Schadenfreude
Hmm?
with that one song from I think Avenue Q.
Mm.
Yeah,
Uh, don't know offhand.
Schadenfreude is when you take pleasure from someone else's pain or someone else's
Ah,
misfortune. The opposite is, let's see, taking pleasure from someone else's pleasure, which is mudita, taking pain from someone else's pleasure, which is invidia, which is shortened to envy, or where the graphics card Nvidia comes from. Avenue Q is a great musical. Yeah, I've only seen it in bits and pieces, in those bits and pieces that trend, but uh, the internet is for porn. The song about Schadenfreude. There's a lot of stuff from there that caught on.
what do you think? More of a blue tone for the hair?
Yeah. Okay.
It's still black, but
Yeah.
it's more on a blue
Black. Yeah.
tone.
Black hair gives you a lot of room to get creative, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Or I could do like a
Whenever
more
I
red tone, which I'll just show you for demonstration.
okay. Yeah. Whenever I created my character in River City Ransom in the Game Boy Advance River City Ransom, where you have a character creator, um, I would give myself kind of a dark green, just because it always seemed like a waste of the options if you go with natural colored hair.
Let's see. I mean, you could make it
Or
look
even
somewhat natural.
it is some kind of political party word. Yeah, it means taking pleasure in the misfortune of others. Taking pleasure in the misfortune of others. That is German. Ugh.
Okay. Maybe not green. That's more of a red base. That's more of a blue base.
I like the blue base that you showed off at first.
Okay.
River City Ransom EX. Was that the Game Boy Advance one?
I don't know.
I I think there was just one Game Boy Advance one, so I called it River City Ransom Advance or River City Ransom GBA.
That would help if I actually didn't lock the layers.
That's a really useful fill tool.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
The one that I have on yeah, the one that I use on GIMP doesn't quite like it's very strict, or rather it's just like the old-fashioned ones where it won't close gaps.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a gap anywhere in your bitmap, then it'll just fill the whole canvas.
It's not perfect, but it does get a lot filled.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it does that.
Yeah.
But it's not
But
too
yeah, we got
destructive.
like serious, mature-looking clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Mature-looking casual clothes.
Yeah. I might change it up a little bit, maybe make this more on a softer, like, hold up. Wait. Maybe not.
Interesting recoloring technique.
It's locked, so it's not gonna.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the jeans should be a darker color, though. Hold up. Lock. Lock your layers. Or do that. I
Aha.
don't like that.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's the whole color combination that we gotta
Yeah.
that we can see now.
Hmm.
I think I'm just looking at I miss River City Ransom EX there, and I'm thinking like I remember when that game came out, I had some hesitation to buy it because they weren't clear about whether they had multiplayer in it or not. And one of the biggest draws for River City Ransom for me was the multiplayer, was being able to, beat up the bad guys together. And it doesn't ultimately. But I'd say it still was worth the purchase. I feel like it is one of the best renditions of River City Ransom.
There we go. Let's focus on these. Actually, what I'm gonna do is take this. I'm gonna use this as the value for white. Too much.
Does RCR-EX have multiplayer? Oh, yes, but actually, well, yeah, I guess you could share your custom characters with each other via code. I think. Or was it through link cable? Like, I'm pretty sure it didn't have link cable multiplayer. You could just share your characters with each other and have like an AI companion take over
Mm-hmm.
for the yeah. Like if you were playing as Alex, then the AI would be Ryan and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right, and you could recruit more. You could recruit more characters to your. You could recruit enemy gang members to your side.
Mm-hmm.
So then members of that gang would appear as you traveled and fight alongside you. But yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure like all that would happen would be AI companions. I wonder if WayForward would take on the challenge of like doing a proper remake of River City Ransom Advance and adding proper multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they will because like River City Girls Zero was kind of a disappointment. I would not recommend it. I would not recommend anyone purchase it just because it is Kunio-Tachi no Banka. It basically just a port of Kunio-Tachi no Banka with cutscenes added.
Hmm. I haven't played
I
either,
mean,
so.
if you're really into the cutscenes, I don't know.
That bad?
Like the game itself, yeah, the game itself didn't age well. It looks great, but it just doesn't play great.
Hmm. No, they're
And
cheating.
well, like the girls in the like, it's branded as River City Girls, but it's not. It's Kunio-Tachi no Banka. It's River City Ransom where you can briefly play as the girls,
Mm-hmm.
but the girls get kidnapped
Ah, lovely.
and they're gone for the rest of the game.
Double lovely. So what's the point of it being that if, the whole
They don't
selling
even have as
point?
many techniques. Yeah, they don't even have as many techniques, as many fighting techniques as Kunio and Riki.
Mm.
So it really is just a um, Chinakets Koha, River City Ransom. They even address this, like they lampshade this in the cutscenes. Like, what? Where were we? We were only there for a little bit of the time.
Mm.
Which is why I'm saying, like, if you're really into the cutscenes, then it might be worth the purchase for you. But if cutscenes aren't that big a deal, and there's only like 3 of them, I think, one at the beginning, one at the end, and like a theme song, a music video that is. That's really what you're paying for.
Ugh.
it had maybe some way to play with a friend, kind of. It was something advertised, but never something I ever figured. Yeah, I feel like the multiplayer for Game Boy Advance River City Ransom was deceptively advertised. Like not to the point where you could level. Well, I want to say borderline to the point where you could level a false advertising um, claim. Kind of reminds me of how like today there is, I believe, limited run games is doing a thing. Like I just saw this video about it yesterday, about limited run games selling a Sega thing, a Sega mini arcade cabinet, um, with deceptive advertising. The advertising being that it says something like uh, English box and instructions, and like it straight up says that it's English box and instructions, but the shopper would expect that it's actually fully translated games. But no, it's the Japanese games. It costs more, and literally only the box and instructions are translated to English.
Nice.
And like the video was about limited run games, but I want to say that Sega's partly at fault here because I wouldn't put it past them to do this kind of thing.
Let me try this. Nope. I'm duplicating this layer.
I think you're coming in a little quiet on the stream. Can you increase your mic volume a bit?
Sure. Sorry about that. Testing? Testing?
Okay, I can hear you a little clearer now.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but you might want to apply either amplification or compression on your microphone on OBS. A compression filter on your compression filter on your microphone source. Meow meow. Yes, meow meow. Meh.
So let me see. Advanced audio properties. Trying to.
Right click on your microphone source or on your audio input source, and choose filters, and then plus in the little window there.
Okay.
And you should see compression, amplification. What else? I like to use noise suppression. Noise suppression speaks. Cast ASMR. Oh yeah. I suppose you could do ASMR videos. Are those things still trending? Are those still popular? My camera has a an ASMR setting. I tried it out recently to try and get Gunstar's purrs.
Yeah.
Oh, and shaking around some ice in a water bottle. Hello, Rukov.
Rukov. Hey, Rukov. Yay. Hello. Does this sound any better? I've got noise suppression on. Oh wait.
Let me catch the stream up.
Actually, I have 2 instances of noise suppression. What is this sorcery?
Oh. Okay, you're coming in much clearer.
Okay.
Although you probably don't need two instances of noise suppression.
Oh, come on. Okay, compressor.
The compressor will do you a world of good, though.
Okay.
I feel like I need to tell half of the. I feel like I need to tell at least half of the bloggers that I listen to on YouTube to get some form of dynamic range compression on their mic.
So change any of the values, or
no? I would leave them at defaults, and then listen back to your own streams
Okay.
And then if you think it could stand to be louder, then adjust the
On the mic.
Okay.
adjust
So
the gain.
change any of the
Yeah,
values,
adjust the
or-
gain up a little bit,
No,
and adjust
I would leave them at
the
I would leave them at default.
ratio up a little
and
bit.
then
At a certain point, you're going to start clipping your mic, and you're not going to know why, and it's probably because either your ratio or your gain is up too high.
So, I'm sorry, people in the
But yeah,
stream,
make
you may
little
be hearing
adjustments.
duplicate here, but I'm just
little line in.
testing my audio.
at a certain point you're
Okay.
So, sorry. Let's see. Audio.
at a certain point you're
Okay.
So.
What's your favorite tongue twister?
point.
So.
What's your favorite tongue twister?
Let's see.
Point.
She sells seashells by the seashore. I don't know. So.
What's your favorite tongue twister?
Let's see.
Point.
All right, yeah. Like, I have your stream as quiet as possible so it doesn't feed back into my microphone. And I've noticed that for the first little while, I couldn't quite hear you, but now you're coming in. Now you're coming in clear.
Okay, good. Good.
Get them gains. Oh, cat ASMR. Yes. Always cat ASMR.
What do you think so far for just the plain Jane version?
I like it. You've got a real talent for just scribbling up characters. I'm gonna want to see a front and side view, and from that, we can start on a 3D model.
Okay. Could also do probably front, side, back view, and then
possible.
also
Diagonals and poses if you're good at if you can visualize those.
just meshing these all together because there's no real need for me to not do that anymore.
Have you ever met someone with aphantasia?
I haven't met someone, but I've seen, like, there's one YouTuber I know of who does have that.
Okay. Yeah, it's a relatively recent phenomenon. I was just thinking about this with someone that I might be training in art soon. That she has trouble visualizing stuff, but she has vivid dreams. So I want to see if maybe, I want to say maybe I have hyperphantasia, because my trouble with drawing stuff is that my imagination gets in the way. So I wonder if maybe she might actually be good at drawing, or she might learn quickly at drawing, because she would have the opposite problem, that her imagination doesn't get in the way, but she can see clearly, hypothetically, she can see clearly where she's making the mistakes in her drawing, and correct them ASAP.
I wouldn't have, no, honestly, that would be kind of hard to, I don't know. It'd be hard for me to vision.
Maybe it would be,
I don't know.
Maybe it's more of a factor of how well you can focus your imagination to show the image that you want to put on the page there. I think when I imagine something, it's not solid. It's shifting. It's changing. It's trying to make itself look better. So whatever I draw always ends up a mistake eventually.
It never comes out how your brain pictures it, though.
Yeah, and my brain is I guess it doesn't really imagine a still image.
That makes sense. You don't see still images. You don't see still images in the real world like you do in, say, pictures or drawings. I guess it depends on how you see the majority of your
Our
world,
brains
I
are
guess.
still...
I don't know.
Yeah. I guess our brains are still adapted to looking for lions hiding in the bush, something like that.
Yep.
It's hard to imagine that some people have aphantasia. Yeah. If you have, it's something that is difficult to sympathize with. And I want to blame that partially on it being something that is just discovered relatively recently. I think it was 2015 that people started looking into it. To imagine that someone can't imagine, or for someone who can't imagine to imagine others imagining. Meow meow. Hi. Hi, Warbles. What's up, Warbles? Is it the warbling hour? Nip. Is it the meeping hour?
Mhm.
Squeaklies.
Oh, I forgot. I might be a little late tomorrow
Mhm.
on the stream because tomorrow's my mom's and aunt's birthday,
Okay. All right.
so might be a
Let's
little
see.
late.
We were thinking about maybe doing Stardew Crew tomorrow.
Yeah, might be
Yeah.
just a little late there, but you know,
Okay.
not absurdly so. Hopefully not.
Working as a team, we've been making really good progress. So hopefully it wouldn't be too bad. Like you probably won't. Hopefully nothing will be ruined by having you miss like a day or two,
Mhm.
however much time you end up missing.
As long as things like the fall crops grow, we should be good.
Hmm. And I know that we have those sprinklers in place, so we don't have to worry about watering them.
Yep.
We have D&D geologists letting the chickens out to graze on the grass all the time,
Yep.
so we don't have to worry about that. You've got me gathering metals in the mines,
Mhm.
so hopefully we'll have enough of that, metals and gems.
Come winter, we might need to just all end up in the mines.
I mean, would it be possible to have our greenhouse by then?
Maybe? I don't know.
Because I know that D&D geologist was hyping that up a bit.
It does make a difference. Especially during the winter, because you can't grow squat.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll have that we'll have that crop of blue gold every X amount of days.
Yes.
Can you buy blueberry seeds all year?
Nope. Only during the summer.
Okay, so I'll just have to buy enough to last all year. Let's see, summer has ended though, hasn't it?
Yep.
Do you have a stock of blueberry seeds?
I think I may or may not. Worst case scenario,
Worst case scenario next year.
next year.
Yeah. And if we need, I mean, I saw a lot of blueberries popping up there. Someone's got to have lots of cash. It's not me, but I'm hoping I'll make my fortune in the mines.
Worst case scenario, blueberry wine, blueberry jam.
Mm.
Blueberries for days.
See, I'm just imagining the taste now. I've always wanted to try ice wine. It was supposedly one of Canada's most lucrative exports. But I think it has gone down either in value or in availability or both.
It could be one of those things where it just became a fad, and over time people.
I'm kind of afraid. Kind of afraid to see if I could even buy a bottle now. But supposedly it's one of the sweetest alcohols you can get. I do like my sweet stuff. I'm actually kind of afraid that it might not be sweet enough for me too. Because I mean, when it comes to sweet stuff, when it comes to sweet alcohols, there's butterscotch schnapps now.
You're like, what more could one person need?
Yeah. A shot of butterscotch snaps in cola. That, like, if I didn't have friends that gave themselves diabetes while growing up, then I'd probably be the one. I'd probably be that friend that gave themselves type 2 diabetes by having too much sugar. And butter ripple schnapps in cola might be part of why.
Mm.
Now I'm trying to be very careful about how much sugar I eat. And I really like my sugar, so limiting my sugar limits how much food I have altogether.
Mm-hmm. Ugh, sorry.
It's all right. We are nearing 10 p.m. my time, so 11 p.m. your time.
Yep, I probably should go on my end too, because...
All right. Thank you for watching, everybody.
Yeah.
I hope that you catch our Stardew crew tomorrow if it happens.
Yeah.
Starting around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And Very Random Butterfly has graciously put my Patreon link in the description of the video. So if you'd like to support our efforts, I hope you check that out.
Yeah.
I will hopefully see if I can set her up with a BAT wallet so you can tip in BAT on this video if you use the Brave browser or if you have some other way of tipping in BAT.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you again for watching. Hopefully we'll see you next time.
Bye.